Well, today's Sunday, it's the 6th of July 2025. We're in Guernsey now, we're settled in, we had a fantastic night's sleep. Lovely breakfast in the hotel, and it was a second or third attempt we managed to get out of the hotel because it kept raining. But it's stopped now and the sun's trying to break through, and it's actually started to feel quite warm as we're walking around. So we've had a little walk into the town, and we just actually walked out of town a little bit towards the Val de Terre. We didn't go up the Val de Terre, by the way, and I'll talk to you about that one later. And we're just starting the video now, actually near to one of the marinas here. No super yachts here like we might expect in Puerto Portals, just smaller boats, locally owned boats mostly. And then one thing that is quite stunning about the harbours here is that they go up and down. The water goes up and down because of the tide, and it's got one of the largest tidal ranges in the world. And I can remember when we were here in Guernsey before, we'd see boats tied up against this wall or the next wall further down there, and the people would have gone and perhaps had some lunch and then came back, and the tide had gone out, and the boat would be hanging off the wall because the water's gone down. It's gone down. I'm not sure whether it's going down further or whether it's on the way up now, but it will get at least halfway up that wall.
So does this jetty move up as well?
Yeah, everything moves up. So we'll catch that later on. We just noticed across the road, well, we've got all the buses there, so it's equivalent to a bus station. Stagecoach are the bus operators by the looks of things. Behind that is the Yacht Hotel, and that's a place we used to go 40-something years ago, so nice to see things like that are still here. We've just walked down the main street, the Pollet, and well, at least a little bit of it, and we've seen some of the shops that we recognised from then, although one of them particularly has changed names, and that's Marks and Spencer's. It's now called Marks and Spencer's, so when we were here it was called Saint Michel, St. Michael, which is the brand. But the actual shop was called St. Michael.
The brand isn't Saint Michel now, it's something else.
Is it? They changed brands? So it shows what I know. Lovely flower displays. They've been celebrating here Liberation Day. They were liberated in 1945, 2025 now. So great big celebrations have been going on. And we've got lots of flowers and flags out and things to commemorate Liberation Day, which was actually a couple of months ago. But hey, you can have a party to last the whole year, can't you? It was quite an event because well, Guernsey and Jersey, they're occupied by the Germans during the Second World War. So Liberation Day is really quite a big thing. When we arrived yesterday, the crossing was very bouncy, up and down. Nobody moved on the ship at all, really. Everybody just stayed in their seats. Sorry. And the wind has stayed today, so I'm glad we're not on the water today. So it's still very breezy, so apologies if it's affecting the sound too much. There's a search and rescue vessel. Yeah, we keep seeing people that were on the ship. Not a huge ship, but still was taking over 800 passengers. I don't know how full it was yesterday, and up to 235 cars, I think it was. So when I think of Guernsey, then this is what I think of. This is St. Peter Port. There's the church, statue to Albert. And then all along the front, we haven't been along there yet. And there's a tourist train maybe we should do that at some point. Just taking photographs. And just in the distance there, that's the castle, which I always called Castle Cornet, but I've heard locals refer to it as Castle Cornet. So Castle Cornet it will have to be. There's a bit of a mixture of English and French here. In fact, some of the older people may have a little patois, Guernsey-esque language, but I don't think many people speak that anymore. It was reasonably common when we came. That's 40 something years ago now. Another little marina here. I think even back then I used to always admire the boats. As we walk past the church, not our hotel, but a hotel. As we walked past the church, the door was open and there was actually a service going on. Well, the pier we've just walked past is called the Albert Pier, and Queen Victoria and Prince Albert landed here on the 24th of August, whatever year that is. I'll have to think and work that one out. Well, it's nice that it's brightening up and we're getting some blue skies, and the worst of the weather's now gone, so we're now hopefully going to get better weather, a little bit warmer. I've actually put a jumper on today. It's quite warm. There's a bronze over there of Victor Hugo, who spent some time here, was exiled and came to Guernsey and had a house here called Hauteville House. I'm not sure whether we'll get a chance to go to visit it. It has funny opening hours. But while I was here, he wrote some of his great works, including one called Toilers of the Sea and Les Mis, or Les Miserables. That's Marks and Spencer's. Lovely bunting. This is the lower entrance. There's an upper entrance to Marks and Spencer's. And then, as you'd expect, along the front, lots of bars and restaurants. This is Creasy's, which seems to be undergoing a major overhaul. Made by?
School, it says on it.
Flowers do make it look particularly pretty though. Bunting, Anita saying, made by a school. She said her.
Bunting, yes, it is.
And there on the wall there, big poster celebrating and commemorating 80 years of liberation. 80 years, 1945 to 2025. And that's sponsored by Balthazar.
Different people then now.
When we came all those years ago, we didn't actually stay in St. Peter Port. We stayed in the north of the island at an area called Vale.
All the way around everywhere.
And we camped at a campsite called La Bayotterie, which is actually still a campsite, though the gentleman that ran it then, when we used to come, is no longer with us, Harold Collis. We used to come every year for many, many years. Bringing lots of school children on a month's holiday. Quite an exciting time for them and for us too. So Anita was asking about these little jetties that are out here. These roll up and down with the tide, so they're floating. And you've got these columns which keep them in place.
So they move up?
Yep. It's actually, there are mooring places along the wall there, so there's actually hooks, rings that you can tie up against, and that's where I've seen them tied up. Don't think I've got any photographs of those, but
Go and have a coffee.
well, we stopped off at the Dix Neuf for coffee and a nice little cookie as well. I've eaten mine.
I thought it was
So cheers everyone.
Cheers.
Lattes for us. Nice coffee. Pretty much like everywhere else we've been, there's lots of bunting, and here we just got the Guernsey flags. Well, lovely coffee, and we're certainly going to be back to Dix Neuf. Ryan was just explaining to us the opening times and giving us plenty of information about the area. Well, we're going to a little walk around, and then we're going to make our way back to the hotel. We're admiring some of the photographs in there in the bar, and he was telling it was done by a local photographer, and really impressive pictures. I think he's just down here somewhere. Unfortunately, on a Sunday, most of the shops are closed, and so we'll be back tomorrow anyway. Oh, there's the one. That's the one I was admiring. There, that's a lovely photo. In fact, they are all really pretty special.
I must come in and speak to him tomorrow. Look at that.
Fascinating shop across. Yeah,
It's nicer there.
nicer. Yeah, that was the other place I was going to suggest for coffee. I'm sure this used to be the old market, and no market anymore.
I think there's a market here.
And I don't know, I've got a memory of Fanny Craddock here. I certainly remember going into this market, walking through, and they were dropping lobsters into boilers of boiling water, and they sounded as though they were squealing, but it was just the air escaping through the
Look at
shell.
that donkey there. You can take a picture of that.
So this is all changed. It's dates back a long time. Les Arcades. The arcades, 1830, and the building at the end is 1822. Library Museum. And then there's a visitor information centre. It's referred to as the market buildings. We're going to have a look inside. Yeah, no market here anymore.
The cobbled streets beneath our feet, a memory lane where past and present meet. The harbor sparkles with boats in a row, St. Peter Port, where the sea breezes blow. Oh, the bunting flies high in the liberation sky. Colors wave as the moments pass by. We're explorers of the streets we knew. St. Peter Port, our love renews. The laughter echoes from the cafe chairs. History whispers through the salty air. Every corner tells a tale untold of journeys new and stories old. Oh, the bunting flies high in the liberation sky. Colors wave as the moments pass by. We're explorers of the streets we knew. St. Peter Port, our love renews. The bells of freedom ring out so clear, marking the days when hope drew near. We walk with hearts both light and free in St. Peter Port, by the shimmer